Today's review is once again sponsored by 31 1980s horror movies for Halloween. This October I will be counting down my 31 favorite horror movies from the 1980s. Tune in for that, but until then, on with the review.
Watch it, Alan, I'm shooting.
Terrifier. Boogie, boogie, boogie. This is going to be my last Welcome to the Grindhouse review until after October, because from October 1st to October 31st, I'm going to be counting down my 31 favorite 1980s horror movies. I promise you this is the last time I'll be whoring that out. I just wanted to get people interested in that series. But before we get into that, we got one more review to go. And since Terrifier 2 is going to be coming out soon, why not talk about the first Terrifier? Because why the hell not? I'm a Terrifier fan. I love Art the Clown, I love the kills, I love the overall gritty, sleazy feeling of the movie. I love supporting independent horror movies, especially low to no budget movies. I admire filmmakers who work with very little and make something out of that. Terrifier is a fantastic no-budget horror movie. Or at the very least, an extremely low-budget horror movie. Those are the ones I really respect when they make a good movie. When they have very, very, very little budget. This has a very simple plot. It's a slasher movie. Two friends, Tara and Dawn, are on their way home from a Halloween party, but due to being drunk, they decide to sober up with a slice of pizza. During this sobering, they catch the attention of this weird guy dressed up as a clown. He keeps staring at them, smiling at them. He even gets a little plastic ring for Tara. Now, Tara is obviously creeped out by this guy, while Dawn is, well, drunk.
Hello? Hello? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a yes.
This fucking...
The guy is eventually thrown out of the pizza place. Later on, when Tara and Dawn try to leave the area, they find out that the tires of the car have been slashed. Tara calls her sister Victoria to come pick them up. As the two ladies wait, one thing leads to another, and they soon find themselves at the mercy of Art the Clown, one of the most sadistic horror movie villains. There's not much more to the plot here. It's a slasher movie. What little story we get here is made to take us from one kill or brutal scene to the other. But what I love about this movie is what the filmmakers were able to do with such a small budget. Terrifier had a budget of $35,000, which was around the same budget as the movie Basket Case, which is a flick I absolutely love. Terrifier has some nasty kills, all done with practical effects. When you look at these gore effects, you see how bloody they are and how well done they are, and then you realize how small the budget was. It's kind of incredible.
Oh, fuck!
Art the Clown and the kills are the main focus of this movie. Of course, the kills being the focus is the case with many slasher movies. I've heard quite a few people complain about Terrifier, which I understand. This is a movie that's not for everybody. I completely understand someone not liking this flick. But one of the common complaints I hear about Terrifier is how there's not much character development and there's not much plot. It's all there to just get you from one kill to the other. And that's the same thing with the original Friday the 13th. The original Friday the 13th is a loved slasher movie amongst horror fans. And yes, it's a very important movie in the genre. But that movie doesn't have much story. It doesn't have too much character development. Everything there is served to take you from one kill to the other. Much like Terrifier. And before anybody says this, because I know someone's going to put words in my mouth, I am not saying that Terrifier is as good as Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is a pillar in the horror genre. It's a very important movie to the slasher genre. I say that Halloween and Friday the 13th are equally important to starting the slasher boom in the 80s. I'm just saying that Friday the 13th and many slasher movies have the similar problem that Terrifier has. It's fine if you don't like the movie, but that's a complaint that you can make about many slasher movies. Now, in a low to no budget slasher movie, sometimes the filmmakers can fall into the trap of unlikable characters. Because we're just there to see these people die, they don't really care about making their characters likable. In fact, a lot of times in these low to no budget horror movies, they make a lot of characters unlikable assholes. We do have Dawn in this movie, and she comes across as that stereotypical dumb blonde in horror movies. She's drunk, she's obnoxious, her character is kind of annoying. But I don't have a problem with the rest of the characters. Tara is shy and likable. There's this guy who's spraying the abandoned building where this movie takes place. They could have easily made him an asshole, but they don't make him an asshole.
Do you need me to wait for you, or...?
I'll be alright.
You remember how we came in?
I remember.
Okay. Well, you have a nice night then.
There's this homeless woman who clearly is off her rocker. They make her an interesting character.
I didn't mean to frighten you, dear. You must be the new tenant. It's nice to finally meet you. You're really going to like it here.
So, yes, I think the characters were able to bring this story together. They're not the most developed characters, but I did find most of them likable. And there are some elements that I thought was kind of clever, some cliches in the horror genre that Terrifier plays around with a little. The movie doesn't do the overused car just doesn't work cliche. When Tara and Dawn leave the pizza place, they see that their tires have been slashed, and it's made very clear that Art is the one who slashed their tires.
Well, are you okay to drive?
Yeah, trust me, that sobered me right the fuck up. Oh my god.
What?
Your tire.
Fuck me!
There is that lazy horror movie cliche where Tara's phone conveniently doesn't work anymore because in modern horror movies we have to deal with cell phones and we have to make sure they don't work so the horror can happen. That is a little annoying, but the thing is, Dawn's phone still works, and that's the phone they use to contact Tara's sister. Later on in the movie, after Dawn is brutally killed, Tara's sister Victoria shows up to the building, and Art the Clown uses the cell phone to lure her into the building, which I thought was clever and refreshing. Instead of just getting rid of that cell phone, it's used in the story. And then there's the fact that Art the Clown uses a gun in certain situations where things go sideways for him. I've heard people complain about this before. This is a slasher movie. Slashers are not allowed to use a gun. Well, first of all, the killers in the Scream movies used a gun. Second of all, I like the fact that Art uses a gun. He's not your typical slasher movie killer. He's there to kill just because he likes to. This is a sport for him, and he keeps the gun with him as backup in case his victims get the upper hand on him. He refuses to let anyone get the better of him. Which brings us to Art the Clown himself. He is a great horror movie villain. There's a lot of character to this character. His mannerisms, his facial expressions, the way he moves, it brings this character to life. And I love how brutal his kills are. This is Gutterball's level of brutality in the kills. I would say that I think Gutterball's is even more brutal in the kills, but you look at Terrifier, again, this had a budget of only $35,000. The most memorable kill in this movie is when a woman is cut in half vertically, starting with the crotch. It's brutal. That's really the only way you can describe this kill. It's brutal, but it's also very impressive, again because the budget was only $35,000. I think this is a solid low to no budget horror movie. Art the Clown is a fantastic villain, the kills are great, and the characters, while not the most developed, do serve their purpose in moving the plot forward, or what little plot there is. I admire Terrifier for doing so much with so little, and I'm looking forward to Terrifier 2. But I will admit, it's no Father's Day. And with that, let's get to the Grindhouse rankings. We've got a body count of 10. The kills consist of, but are not limited to, decapitations, breasts being cut off, faces bashed in, and being cut in half horizontally. It reaches the slasher requirements with a good killer, a variety of kills, and a high body count. There's a good amount of nudity here, mostly naked female bodies, and none of them are treated well. Art the Clown is a great killer. He doesn't speak, but he shows a lot through his face and his actions. The other characters are solid. They aren't the most developed, but they work. The practical effects are amazing, especially with such a low budget. And I love the ending. It has some great final images that I love in horror movies. I'm giving this a 4.4 out of 5, but that's for me. It's mostly because I respect how this movie did so much with such a small budget. It may not be for everybody, but if you like a good, sleazy, brutal exploitation slasher movie, then give Terrifier a shot. As always, I want to thank everyone for continuing to watch and support this channel. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite clown in horror movies. I have a feeling I'm going to see a lot of Pennywises here. And please stay tuned for my ranking series this October. I'm really looking forward to doing this, and I hope you all enjoy it. But until then, this is the Maniac, here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die. I don't have a joke for the end of this review. Beep, 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 beep.